Hello and welcome to another episode of Leah Talks. Today we're joined by Lynda. So, Lynda, can you let everybody know who you are and what you do?
Hi, yes, my name is Lynda Harrison. I am an energy healer. So I work with quantum energy, and I do quantum flame healing and I do quantum healing. And I also do, so I work with energy. So I can also do a crystal consultation where I'll go into your home and I'll do an energy consultation or into your company, and I can assess where the energy needs balancing and what crystals you can bring in to balance that. So, yeah, my main things are quantum flame healing, the energy with the crystals, and I also do something else called belief coding, which kind of ties in as well. We look at negative beliefs, so it can be absolutely anything. It can be I'm scared of heights, or I'm always late, or why can't I get that promotion at work? And we delve deep into your subconscious and we find out what the negative belief is. We heal the memory surrounding it and we send you off with lovely new beliefs. Um, yes,
Yeah,
and hopefully it works.
cool. I love that. And there seems to be a lot of that kind of thing needed at the minute. I think like every time I go on Instagram or whatever, there's all these like affirmations and tapping and all of this to kind of change your
Yeah,
beliefs. And it does just change your whole mindset, doesn't it? So what is quantum flame healing then? Like you brought that up a couple of times. What kind of thing is that for anybody listening
yeah.
who has no idea what it is?
So so what we do is we will take you, we call it taking you into the quantum, but it's basically like a guided meditation with energy healing with it. With quantum flame healing, we take you to a frequency of 369, which is Tesla's frequency of healing. And the founders of quantum flame healing had this all downloaded to them from Tesla and Einstein. So it's like a mixture of both of their works. There's which is like I guess the scientific backing to it. But if you're not interested in the science, basically it just you can come with anything that you want to heal. So it can be a negative belief or it can be something physical. And we will go on this meditative journey. We'll take you into your subconscious, and as we're doing the healing, what we're doing is we're enabling your body to heal. And that's one thing that's becoming more and more apparent in the world is that our bodies are capable of healing us. Like that's like we are these magical beings that can heal ourselves. We don't need all of these drugs. I mean, I'm not saying don't ever take drugs because sometimes obviously there is a need for it, especially if you're not like wired up to believing and healing and all of this kind of stuff. But it can certainly help you. I've cured myself from tonsillitis a couple of times, um, because who was it that said it? Was it Gabor Mate or Deepak Chopra? Anyway, one of those guys. I had this quote. I can't remember what the quote is, but it's basically all of our sicknesses come from the mind. So it's like a negative belief that will cause you to be sick. And it's
Mhm.
because your body's trying to protect you from something. And that's what we work with. We work with that energy. We work with teaching your body and your mind and your subconscious that you're safe.
Mhm.
But yeah, basically quantum healing is we have a little chat to begin with. You tell me what you want to work on. I will make some notes. You can relax and have a lovely time listening to my voice. We'll go into the state, and then you will be going on this journey in your subconscious, and I will be sending you healing at the same time. And then I'll bring you back at the end.
Yeah, I
But
love
yeah,
the
it's
sound of
really
that.
beautiful.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's nice to hear the science in with the spirituality because I've had a lot of people on the podcast talk about spirituality, and I think for anybody listening who is a bit iffy on that or don't believe in it, it's nice to know that it is scientifically like backed up as well. So that was really interesting to say that you healed yourself from tonsillitis with that because like you
Yeah.
know that these kind of things affect your body, right? Because when you're stressed, you do get more poorly. So
Yeah.
how did you do that? Like, can you give us
I
a little
just
bit
took
of
myself
insight?
into the yeah, I just took myself into the quantum. So I did my own quantum journey and I did my own healing. So We all have spirit guides, so then we call upon our spirit guides, and then we send healing to that area. And you know what I think it really is as well? Our bodies are telling us to slow down and rest. We're
Mhm.
living in this modern world where it's go, 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 go. And we're not listening to ourselves, we're not listening to our bodies, we're not giving ourselves anything other than stress. And we're constantly in survival mode because we're just wanting the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it's really interesting because I've worked with quite a few people now from doing belief coding and quantum healing. And from my findings of all of these people, I think I'm going to create a self-worth course, because it feels like everything is coming down to self-worth. No matter what it is, it always comes down to self-worth or self-esteem. And
Mhm.
we need to believe in ourselves more.
Yeah. Understand ourselves more.
Yeah, totally. it's
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, we need to understand ourselves more and definitely believe in ourselves more. And it's like it's ancestral trauma that's come down through the generations, where we've just been like made to feel smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller,
Yes.
and we're fed up of it now.
Yeah.
We want to be seen, we want to be heard.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was talking to my sister about stuff like this the other day. I can't remember what exactly we were talking about, but we were basically saying how we really struggle with connection and emotion. And we kind of took it right back and was like, wow, it goes through the generations, doesn't it? Like my nan, she was a twin and her mum left her. And I just remember her telling me this story of like being left underneath a table and her dad coming home and finding her or something. And then her dad was really busy. So he had to go and work. They got put into an orphanage, and it was just like the trauma that she went
Wow.
through that was then obviously kind of passed down through my mum and my aunties, and just little things that we notice how we all in our family, I think, really struggle with emotions. We definitely do not speak about emotions. Like that is we don't do that.
Mm.
And connection. Like my husband is constantly saying to me stuff like, why don't you ever hug me? Why don't you ever kiss me? It's like, I'm just not a huggy, touchy person. But yeah, it's just so funny that you said that through the trauma and stuff, because I can see it coming down through the family. But it's not until you kind of look inwards and try to figure all this out about yourself that you start
Mm.
realizing this, I think, and then you can start looking at the generations of stuff. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, there's a study that's come out recently where they've proven that trauma is carried in our DNA. So
Hmm.
it's carried through the mother into the egg. And then, so like any trauma that you experience, your grandchildren will experience, because your daughter has eggs before, like in your stomach. So
It's
it's like,
amazing, isn't it?
it's, yeah, and the science is so cool at the moment. Like I'm learning all of the science about the quantum and energy, and it's all stuff that we already know. We already know all of this. It's just that with the modern day, we've been leaning more into chemistry and biology, and we've been forgetting the physics, and it's just physics.
Hmm.
Like I remember when I was 12 years old, and this is such a pinnacle point in my life because I remember it so clearly. Um, and we were in a physics, and I remember my physics teacher saying everything is made up of atoms. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, every single thing is made. And I was like, what? How can this be made up of an atom? How can this be? But it is. It's all energy, and it's all just
Hmm.
vibrating, and we're all just vibrating on a different level. And
Yes.
that's another thing that quantum flame healing does as well, and belief coding, is it gets you vibrating at a higher level.
Hmm.
So when you're feeling depressed or sad or hopeless, you're vibrating at a really low level. Whereas when you're in joy, or like you're bringing in your manifestations, you're vibrating at such a higher level. You attract the things that are on the same level as you're vibrating at. So
Yeah.
that's why it's so important. And it's so important to look after ourselves.
And is that, would you say, your work, like the quantum healing and stuff, that is bringing people up to that higher vibration?
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what we do. And that's how we heal. We're going up to these higher vibrations as we're healing.
Hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. And I know you
Yeah,
like
it's
you
really
picked up your
cool.
crystal then, and I know that you post about your
My
crystals
small
all the
crystal.
time.
Yes, I
So
love my crystals.
I'm guessing that's used in the healing process as well.
Yeah, exactly. So what happens is when you book in for a one-to-one quantum flame healing session with me, so there's two types of quantum healing I do. I do quantum flame healing, which is the guided meditation with the healing, or you can just have quantum healing, which is just, it's basically like Reiki on crack.
Hmm.
It is like the energy is like, so that's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's basically like Reiki. But the quantum flame healing, what I would do is when you book your session, I will keep tapping into your energy for a few days before. I'll see what your energy is feeling like, what I feel that needs balancing, anything that I can feel that's troubling you, and then I'll bring crystals in to support that, and then we'll use the crystals as we go into the quantum as
Yeah.
part of the guided meditation, and I'll use their energy for the healing as well.
So is that like all crystals give off different types of energy, or I'm not
Yeah,
that sure on crystals?
yeah, it's really funny, isn't it? Because when you're doing something all the time, you just assume everybody knows.
Yeah.
But yes, so each crystal has like different qualities to it. So rose quartz, I think most people know rose quartz. It's like love, friendship, being kind to yourself, like harmony. So yeah, I always have quartz crystal close by me, and I've got some tourmaline here. And tourmaline it soaks up the EMF, so I always have it by my computer, the
Mhm.
electromagnetic frequencies. So it's like protection, grounding. Um, yeah, they're really special stones. But yeah, in a nutshell, they all do different things, and it's
Yeah.
amazing. So when people see the crystals that come to them when they're in the quantum, and then we talk about what it is that's supposed to heal, they're like, oh my gosh, like if your throat chakra's blocked, like you're not speaking your truth, you might get a blue crystal like this, and that's a lapis, which is
Yeah.
for your throat chakra.
Amazing.
So, yeah, it's really cool.
So I know that you do, I don't know if you still do it actually, the monthly quantum healing. Do you still do that?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, I
So
do.
what kind of thing is that? Because that's like a group thing, isn't it?
Yes, so that's every full moon. The
Hmm.
next one is on the 23rd. Yeah, I'm just looking at my calendar. The 23rd, and that the May full moon is a flower full moon. So I will do that, and I do that at £6 because I want it to be accessible for everybody. I want everybody to be able to experience quantum flame healing. And it's 45 minutes to an hour at 8:30. So you can get yourself all ready for bed. Hopefully the kids will be in bed by then. And just
Fingers crossed.
relax. Yeah, exactly. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. Lock all the doors. Put your earplugs in. But yeah, I don't need to see you. You don't need to see me. I make sure everyone's cameras and mics are off, and you just lie there and you just receive the healing and whatever you need for that day.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really nice just to do it once a month to reset. And most people find that they feel a balance at the end of it. So they feel rested, but also restored at the same time.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's just people, parents especially, have messaged me after saying, I have never had such a good night's sleep. So
Yes.
very
Amazing.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if anybody's kind of curious into the quantum healing, jump on that because £6 is amazing for
yeah,
that offer. Yes, amazing. So on to parenting then and kids, soon as that just came up.
yeah,
How do you feel like this kind of work has helped with your parenting?
100%. So I came into this because I had massive burnout,
Hmm.
and I was just awful. I was awful. I was snappy all the time. I was constantly on my phone. So I'd be like talking to my kids through my
Yeah.
phone, um, like pushing them out of the room because I had to work, sending them in when they were poorly, like work was my priority and they were not. And it was very apparent to them. And I
Yeah.
was just like in this cloud where I didn't even realize what was going on because it was just like my job was so crazy.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I had this massive burnout. And actually, I had this epiphany before I had the burnout, where I was in my office. It was a weekend. My boss had called and I was like trying to sort something out. My daughter was trying to come in. She was crying, and I was physically pushing her out the room and the door.
Yeah.
And I was just, I kind of had this out of body experience where I was looking at myself like, what are you doing? Like, it's the weekend as well. So your child needs you. And
I'm sure a lot
yeah,
of people can
so
relate to this though. All been
it's
there and done that,
hard,
I
isn't
think, at
it?
some point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard. But now I'm way more compassionate, way more compassionate. And because my cup is fuller,
Hmm.
I'm able to come to them from a more peaceful place rather than instantly snap at them. Why have you spilt that? And it's just like water, it doesn't really matter. But
Hmm.
like when you're really stressed, it's the worst thing that could ever happen. Like something else has happened on top of everything else that's going
Yes.
on. But I'm just like, oh yeah, it's water. Let's just
Yeah.
clean it up.
So it's helped you chill out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not chilled all the time. I do obviously have my little tantrums still,
Oh, doesn't
but
everybody?
it's yeah, but they're not daily anymore, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it
That's
really,
good.
really has. And there was, oh yes, a lady that I did belief coding. She was she's a single mum and she has a high powered career and her son is young and she was struggling with that balance
Hmm.
and she doesn't have much support around her. So we did a belief coding session. She was like, it's absolutely amazing because she turns up differently, which means he turns up differently.
Hmm.
So they're meeting each other
Yeah.
better and it's just more harmonious in
Yeah.
the house. But that's the amazing thing about belief coding and quantum flame healing is that because you're turning up differently, there's a ripple effect. And because you
Hmm.
turn up differently, everyone's responses to you are different.
Yes.
They turn up differently too.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah. I think I've heard a lot of people say stuff like, I need to fix my child or like, sort them out and their behavior when actually most of the time it starts with you and how you are feeling. And I've noticed little things like that, especially putting my daughter to bed. So like she won't go to sleep without anybody there, so she needs somebody to lay with her. But if I'm laying there
Yeah.
tense thinking, oh my god, I've got so much to do and I really want to get up and do this, she will not go to sleep. But if I relax my body, even if I just like take some deep breaths and relax my body, she's out instantly. So it's just that effect of like feeling her
Wow.
body, I think, as well. Like, she can sense my tenseness. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can definitely see how that works.
And our energetic fields go into each other as well. So that totally makes sense because she'll be
Hmm.
picking up on all of your anxiousness. Whereas if you're
Yes.
calm, you'll be like enveloping her in like a bubble of calmness.
Yeah,
And that's so
exactly.
cool because I had that issue last night with my daughter and I was like, get to
Yeah.
bed. But
Yeah.
I should have just breathed.
But that's it. I'm not like that every night, but I have noticed I have to try to make myself sometimes like, okay, calm down. She can
Yeah.
sense you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you
It's so
feel,
weird, isn't it?
yeah, it is. It's amazing. It's amazing how they pick up on everything. Like, do you find that your kids then have picked up on kind of what you're doing and then I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like, so do they try to be a bit more spiritual and stuff because they can see what you're doing?
I don't know. I feel like maybe it's having the opposite effect.
They're like, no, I don't want to do what mummy does.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Although my daughter did say to me that she wanted to do Pilates with me in the mornings, that was good. And
Yeah.
they are both really into their crystals now. They love the crystals, but they haven't been on a quantum healing journey with me yet. But I'm now learning. I'm in the middle of doing my quantum healing qualification for not quantum kids qualification. So
Oh,
hopefully they'll be my guinea pigs when I do
yes.
quantum kids.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good. I didn't realize that you could do kids as well. So I guess it's
yeah.
it's not um I'd imagine like obviously the adult stuff is going to be a little bit more intense and like with the kids, I guess my question is like how would kids understand that? But to be honest, kids are more like they pick up on more than most people, don't they?
Oh my gosh, they're amazing. Like they're absolutely amazing. Like I want to get inside their head. You
Yeah.
know when they're looking at something and you're like, what are you looking at? Like,
Yeah.
is there something there that I can't see?
Yes.
Tell me.
Yes, I always think stuff like that because you always hear these stories as well of like, oh, my kids said that they saw somebody and like there's nothing there. And it's like, can they see ghosts and stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. What did they see?
Yeah.
But it's interesting what you said about the connection to the parents, because I've only just started the Quantum Kids course, but already they say, oh, we start with the parents. You've got to work with the parents first.
Yeah.
So I guess if the parents' behavior isn't changing, it's quite hard to change the kids' behavior.
Yes.
But we can support the kids anyway. And things like if they're anxious about exams, that kind of stuff, like that, we can really easily help them manage with that. I want to get into schools. I want to be able to get into schools to help them, just center themselves. And life's so hard for them now. We were so lucky that we didn't have mobile phones or like smartphones and Facebook and Instagram, but they've got all of this, and it's tough.
Well, you can tell how tough it is, because I feel like I've heard so many people now say that they're homeschooling as well. Like they're actually taking their kids out of school because it's so tough and so different nowadays.
Yeah, I know. I would absolutely love to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I think it would be amazing. I want to explore doing it flexibly, because apparently you can do it flexibly. Like they can be in school for a couple of days and then you can take them out for a couple of days.
Yes, I've heard that as well. It's always
Yeah,
something that I've thought about. I've always said, like, if my daughter ever has a problem in school, I would not hesitate to take her out and do some stuff. Like, because you can also, you've got the school curriculum that you can follow, but then you can also add in stuff like this, the more
yeah,
spiritual stuff, which is so needed in school. So it would be great if you could definitely do something like that. So how has it kind of what's your spiritual routine, I should say? How has it affected your day-to-day life, and how, like, do you have a certain routine that you follow? Is there something that you do every single day to help you kind of stay in this mindset and get that higher vibration?
yeah. Well, there is things that I should do every day, but I don't do every day.
Yeah. Same.
But I do know how to, yeah, I do know how it's much easier for me to bring myself back now. But I always make sure that I mean, hydration is really important. It's so boring, but it's so important.
Yeah.
And I do notice a huge difference. Sleep, I mean, it's so hard to say to mums, isn't it? Try and get lots of sleep and try and drink lots of water. I mean, they're the two most impossible things that we can do. But I do tapping in the morning, and I try to do a bit of breath work, get outside. I'm lucky that I do have kids, so I get to walk to school in the morning. But getting outside and grounding is that is just so amazing. And one thing that I got taught from one of my healers, which was just the most beautiful thing, and it seems so simple and it is so hard to do, is she said, you need to, I think she was giving me like a challenge a month or something. And she was like, you need to sit outside for 15 minutes every single day, no phone, no listening to music, no listening to anything, no notepad, no nothing. You just have to sit. If a thought comes into your head, you just ignore it. It's 15 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh, like 15 minutes, like, because that was when I was in the height of burnout. So I was like, if somebody needs me, like having a panic attack that I wouldn't be contactable for 15 minutes. But one day I did it, put my phone on airplane mode. I just thought it's 15 minutes. It's like people can live without me for 15 minutes. And honestly, it felt so luxurious. It was absolutely amazing. So every time I'm going on that wobble again, I'm like, you need 15 minutes. It's not long.
Yeah. It's so hard to do though, isn't it? It's so hard to clear your mind.
So hard.
So many
But
thoughts pop, pop, pop.
yeah, but it's quite good if you do it outside, because you can do that. You can focus on things like the birds and the trees. So there are other things you can look at and to take your mind off. But yeah, it's really hard, and it's really
Yes.
hard. I used to put my phone on airplane mode and put an alarm on,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're just checking all the time. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is, if you can do one thing for yourself this week. I mean, it's such a luxury, because that's our scarcest commodity, isn't it? Time.
Yeah, definitely. So that actually goes into the next question I was going to ask you, but I feel like you might have answered it now. What I was going to say, what are 3 bits of advice that you would give to people to kind of improve their happiness right now? Would you say that? Well, I'll let you say, even if
Do
they're the same as what
quantum
you said.
healing.
Yep.
Come to my quantum healing and the full moon. Yes. To increase their happiness right now, I would. So the best things to do are to do gratitude gratitude. So think about 3 things that you're grateful for every day, because sometimes it's really hard. And it can even be something as simple as I have a roof over my head, I have food to eat, I have air to breathe, like just something to get you into that habit of doing it. That will definitely increase your happiness. Getting outside, get your steps in, get the sunshine. It's not that sunny today, is it? But just getting outside and getting, like, especially if you've got an office job, getting away from the screen, just turn your phone off for a little bit. I know it's really hard. And also another thing that I do is I set limits on my Facebook and my Instagram. And I think it's so important because
such a good thing.
the doom scrolling, it's just like if my
Yeah.
daughter watches too much TV, she's a monster. Like I am a monster if I'm just like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Dopamine hit.
Yeah. And I think that's sometimes where comparison and stuff comes up as well, doesn't it? So it's
Yeah,
just like, just stop
exactly.
that right away. Yeah.
Have you seen that documentary called The Social Experiment?
No, I haven't. I've seen it come up on Netflix or whatever it came up on, but I haven't actually clicked on it.
It's so interesting. So there's a guy who used to be, I think he used to be like the CMO, someone very senior at Instagram. He will not let his kids ever have Instagram.
Oh, that's
So
interesting. Oh,
how
okay, I'm gonna have
interesting
to
is
watch
that?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said he doesn't let them have screens at all. I think at the time of recording, I think they're about 12 or 13. And he said he used to
Yes.
go into like the food cupboard if he needed to send a text because
Yeah.
he didn't want them to see him on his phone.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? They do pick up on what you're doing. So if you can also not be on your phone so much, hopefully
Yeah.
they won't. And it makes sense because we are not made to be busy and to have screens and stuff. We're made to go and forage for food and live outdoors. And, so it makes sense that all
Yeah.
that stuff is more healing for us.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah.
And it's like when I was at the pinnacle of my burnout stage, I guess we'll call it, because I was like really, really busy. If I left my phone anywhere, my kids would be like, Mum, your phone, your phone. And they would like
Yes.
run after me and run after me and try and give me my phone all the time. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm okay. But now, since my husband and I have both been making concerted effort to try not to be on our phones in front of our kids,
Yeah.
and they don't do it anymore.
Do you know what? I can completely relate to that because my little girl used to do that. And then that's when
Yeah.
I realized, oh my God, that is so bad. I'm going to stop using my phone so much. And I haven't used it as much since. She must have been about, I want to say about 3 at the time as well. She just kept passing me on
Yeah.
my phone. I was like, oh my God, that is like
Yeah.
horrendous.
They think it's like the most important thing to you. Like
Yeah.
they think that the phone is more important than them,
Yeah.
which is
Not
so
good, is it?
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sad. And also, when I was like, obviously now I'm doing the quantum healing, and another thing I should probably say is when I'm doing a one-on-one quantum healing, when we're in the session, you will receive messages, and I will receive messages for you. So I'm quite open to receiving messages. And I trust myself, which is the most important thing. And before, when I was working in my corporate job, there's absolutely no way I would not have received anything because I don't. It's all about sitting still and being with yourself and trusting yourself and knowing that it's repeated all the time, but it's so true. But the answers are inside,
Yeah.
and it's just knowing that and trusting that. And you
Yes.
can only do that when you slow down and
Hmm.
you sit still.
Yeah. I feel like the main message from this podcast is to start working on yourself for sure
Yes.
and higher that vibration and energy and go and join Lynda's quantum healing. So on that note,
Yeah.
where can people find you?
They can find me on my Instagram page, which is London Holistics. Um, I also have TikTok, but I don't have a link to that. But that's probably the best way to do it, through my Instagram page. And then you can sign up to get my newsletters. I've also got a website, londonholistics.co.uk. Yeah, you can send me a private message if you've got any questions about anything. I'm happy to answer any questions. And I'm definitely going to start, because I was at a barbecue this weekend and there were some non-believers there,
Yeah.
and I need to start working out how to explain it to people that aren't from the spiritual realm.
Yes. I feel like this episode, to be fair, has explained quite a bit. So I think
Good.
maybe just share this episode around and be like, listen to
Yeah.
this. This is what I
Ding.
do. Yeah, definitely.
Thank
So
you.
I'll leave all of Lynda's links down below. So please feel free to get in contact and ask if you have any questions. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.